The scent of Mom's signature pot roast filled the dining room, but the bitter taste of humiliation overwhelmed everything else. I sat at our family's mahogany table, pushing carrots around my plate while my sister Victoria's words hung in the air like poison. "Still playing entrepreneur, Emily?" she smirked, cutting her meat with precise, elegant movements. "How long has it been now? 2 years of your little, tech startup, going nowhere." I gripped my fork tighter, knuckles turning white. My company, InnovateTech Solutions, wasn't little. We'd just secured 3 major contracts and were about to announce a merger that would shake the entire industry. But they didn't know that. They didn't want to know. "Victoria," Mom chided softly, but her tone lacked any real disapproval. "I'm sure Emily is trying her best." Dad didn't even look up from his phone. "The position at Anderson Corp is still open," he said, referring to the corporate job he'd been pushing me toward since graduation. "James can put in a good word for you. It's time to stop this foolishness and get a real career." I took a slow sip of water, remembering the acquisition papers sitting in my office safe. Tomorrow everything would change, but tonight I had to endure one more family dinner of subtle jabs and disappointed sighs. Victoria straightened in her chair, practically glowing with self-importance. "Speaking of real careers," she announced, "I have an interview tomorrow with Blackwood Industries. Senior Vice President position." She paused for effect. "The youngest in company history if I get it." Mom gasped in delight. Dad finally looked up from his phone, beaming with pride. "That's wonderful, sweetheart. Blackwood Industries is one of the most prestigious firms in the country." "I know," Victoria preened. "The CEO personally reached out to me. They've been watching my work at Morgan Stanley." She turned to me, false sympathy dripping from her voice. "You know, Em, if you'd stayed in corporate like Dad suggested, you could be somewhere too instead of working from that tiny apartment." That tiny apartment was actually my company's first office, where I'd built InnovateTech from the ground up. We'd expanded to 3 floors now, but I'd kept the original space as my private office, a reminder of where I started. "I'm happy for you, Victoria," I said quietly, meaning it despite her condescension. "Blackwood Industries is indeed prestigious." She laughed, the sound sharp and dismissive. "Oh honey, you don't even know. Their tech division is revolutionary. But I suppose you wouldn't understand still playing with your little website designs." If she only knew that InnovateTech had developed half the security protocols Blackwood currently used. If she only knew that tomorrow's merger announcement would. But no. Let her have tonight. Tomorrow would come soon enough. "More wine, Victoria?" Mom offered, already pouring. "We should celebrate. Our daughter finally reaching the heights we always knew she would." The rest of dinner passed in a blur of Victoria's self-congratulatory monologues about her upcoming interview. She detailed her planned outfit, Chanel of course, her prepared responses, her ideas for revolutionizing Blackwood's corporate structure. I stayed quiet, nodding at appropriate moments, while inside my mind raced with tomorrow's schedule. The merger papers would be signed at 8 a.m. The press release would go out at 9. Victoria's interview was scheduled for 10. As I stood to leave, Victoria called out, "Don't worry, Em. Once I'm SVP at Blackwood, maybe I can throw some freelance work your way. You know, if your little business doesn't work out." I smiled, gathering my coat. "Thanks, Victoria. Good luck tomorrow. I have a feeling it'll be an interview you'll never forget." She mistook my smile for resignation, my words for defeat. But as I walked to my car, I couldn't help but think about how different things would look in less than 24 hours. Because Victoria was right about one thing, Blackwood Industries was indeed prestigious. And as of tomorrow morning, it would be a subsidiary of InnovateTech Solutions. My phone buzzed with a text from Marcus, my CFO. "Final papers ready for morning signing. You sure about keeping this quiet until tomorrow?" I typed back a quick response. "Absolutely. Some revelations are worth waiting for." Driving home to my penthouse apartment, not the tiny office space Victoria imagined, I felt a strange mix of emotions. Tomorrow would change everything, but tonight I was still just Emily, the family disappointment, playing entrepreneur while her successful sister climbed the corporate ladder. For one more night, let them believe what they wanted. Tomorrow would come soon enough, and with it, a reckoning none of them saw coming. The next morning I arrived at InnovateTech's headquarters at 7 a.m. sharp. The merger papers were already laid out in the main conference room, lawyers from both companies double-checking every detail. This wasn't just any acquisition, this was the biggest tech merger of the year, and everything had to be perfect. "Morning, Ms. Walker," my assistant Sophie greeted me, tablet in hand. "The Blackwood legal team is ready. Also, your 10 a.m. interview candidates' credentials are on your desk." I smiled, picking up Victoria's resume. She was qualified, I had to give her that. Top of her class at Wharton, impressive track record at Morgan Stanley. In another life she might have actually gotten this job. "The press is already gathering downstairs," Marcus said, walking in with 2 cups of coffee. He handed me one, his eyes twinkling. "And HR confirmed your sister hasn't posted anything about her interview on social media. She has no idea." At 8 a.m. sharp I signed the final papers. Blackwood Industries, with its $2.8 billion valuation, was now officially part of InnovateTech Solutions. I had kept my name out of the press during negotiations, working through intermediaries. As far as the public knew, InnovateTech CEO was a mystery figure who never gave interviews or appeared in photos. "Congratulations, Ms. Walker," Blackwood's former CEO said, shaking my hand. "I trust you'll take good care of my company." "Our company now," I corrected gently. "And yes, I will." At 9 a.m. the press release went out. The business world exploded with speculation about the mysterious CEO who had just pulled off the acquisition of the year. My phone started buzzing with messages from industry insiders, but I ignored them all. I had a more important meeting to prepare for. At 9:55, Sophie's voice came through the intercom. "Your 10 a.m. is here, Ms. Walker. Give me 2 minutes, then send her in." I stood at the floor-to-ceiling windows of my office, looking out over the city. The same view Victoria had probably imagined herself having as Blackwood's SVP. I heard the door open, followed by the confident click of heels on hardwood. "Good morning," Victoria's voice rang out, polished and professional. "I'm Victoria Walker, here for the Senior Vice President interview." I didn't turn around immediately. "Yes, I've been looking forward to this meeting. I've prepared a comprehensive presentation on my vision for Blackwood's future," she continued, clearly thrown off by my turned back but maintaining her composure. "Blackwood's future?" I finally turned around. "I think you mean InnovateTech's future." The color drained from Victoria's face. Her portfolio dropped to the floor, papers scattering across the polished hardwood. "Emily." "Hello, Victoria." I smiled, gesturing to the chair across from my desk. "Shall we begin?" She stood frozen, her mouth opening and closing without sound. Her eyes darted around my office, taking in the sleek modern furniture, the industry awards on the walls, the view she'd dreamed of having. This is impossible," she finally managed. "You run a small web design company. You work from a tiny apartment." I sat down behind my desk, amused. "Is that what you really thought? That all these years, while you were mocking my little business, I was just scraping by?" "Victoria, InnovateTech Solutions is now the largest tech security firm in the country. And as of 8 a.m. this morning, we own Blackwood Industries." She collapsed into the chair, her perfect composure shattered. "The merger. Everyone's been talking about it. That was you?" "That was me." I picked up her resume, skimming it again. "You know, you're actually quite qualified for this position. Top of your class, excellent recommendations, impressive project management experience." Hope flickered across her face, quickly replaced by uncertainty. Are you still considering me for the position?" I set her resume down carefully. "That depends. Do you still think I'm playing entrepreneur?" Victoria's face flushed deep red. "Emily, I didn't know. All these years you never said anything. Would you have believed me if I had? Or would you have dismissed it as another one of my little delusions like Mom and Dad did?" Tears welled in her eyes, real ones, not the practiced ones she used to get her way. "I'm so sorry. I've been terrible to you." I leaned back in my chair, studying my sister. The polished corporate warrior was gone, replaced by someone I hadn't seen in years, my actual sister, vulnerable and real. "The position is still open," I said finally. "But not at Blackwood. Here at InnovateTech's main office. Junior project manager, reporting directly to our COO. It's several steps down from SVP, but it's honest work with room for growth." Victoria wiped her eyes carefully, smudging her perfect makeup. You'd still give me a chance? After everything?" You're my sister Victoria. Despite everything. But, I added, my voice firming, if you take this job, you earn it on your own merit. No special treatment, no shortcuts. Think you can handle that? She straightened in her chair, and for the first time in years, I saw determination instead of entitlement in her eyes. Yes. Yes, I can. Good. I pressed the intercom. Sophie, please bring in the new hire paperwork. And Victoria, I added, wait until Mom and Dad see the evening news. That evening, I sat in my home office watching the business news channels explode with coverage of the merger. My phone hadn't stopped buzzing since the official announcement, but I was waiting for one specific call. Right on cue at 6:30 p.m., Mom's number flashed across my screen. Emily, she breathed, her voice shaking. We just saw the news. And Victoria came home. She told us everything. In the background, I could hear Dad's voice, uncharacteristically uncertain. Ask her if it's true. All of it. It's true, I said calmly, looking out at the city skyline from my penthouse windows. InnovateTech Solutions acquired Blackwood Industries this morning. The deal was worth $2.8 billion. Silence stretched across the line, broken only by what sounded like someone sitting down heavily. But your little web design business. Mom stuttered. Was never just web design, Mom. That was just what you chose to see. I tried to tell you about our cybersecurity contracts, our tech innovations, our growth. But you and Dad were too busy celebrating Victoria's corporate climb to listen. Why didn't you tell us? Dad's voice came through clearer now. He must have taken the phone. I did tell you, Dad. Remember 3 years ago when I tried to explain our new security protocol? You said I should stop wasting time and apply to Anderson Corporation. Remember last Christmas, when I mentioned our international expansion? Mom changed the subject to Victoria's bonus. More silence. Then, we're so sorry, Emily. We had no idea. No, I interrupted gently, you had every opportunity to know. You just didn't want to see it. Because it didn't fit your idea of success. The corporate ladder, the prestigious firms, the corner office. But you have all that now, Mom said quietly. More than that. Yes, but I built it my way. Not the way you wanted, not the way Victoria did. My way. The doorbell rang. Right on time. Mom, Dad, I have to go. Victoria's here. We're having dinner to discuss her new position. She told us about that too, Dad said. Junior project manager. Not what she interviewed for. No, I agreed. She'll start at the bottom and work her way up. Like I did. After saying goodbye, I opened my door to find Victoria standing there, looking very different from the polished executive who'd walked into my office that morning. She'd changed into jeans and a sweater, her makeup minimal, hair pulled back simply. I brought wine, she said, holding up a bottle. And an apology. Over dinner. Ordered in from our favorite childhood pizza place. Victoria and I really talked for the first time in years. About our childhood competition, about Mom and Dad's expectations, about the walls we'd built between us. I was jealous, she admitted, picking at her pizza crust. Not of your success. I didn't know about that. But of your courage. You chose your own path while I just did what was expected. And now. She smiled slightly. Now I get to learn from my little sister. God, that's going to take some getting used to. The company too, I added. No special treatment, remember? I remember. She straightened, looking more like herself but somehow softer. I won't let you down, Emily. Not this time. My phone buzzed again. A text from Mom. Can we come see your office tomorrow? We want to really understand what you've built. I showed Victoria the message. He squeezed my hand. Let them see, she said. Let them finally see you. I texted back. Come at 10. I'll give you the full tour. Looking at Victoria across the table, seeing the genuine pride and regret in her eyes, I felt something heal inside me. Success wasn't just about the merger, the billions, or the corner office. It was about finally being seen, really seen, by the people who had looked past me for so long. To new beginnings, Victoria raised her glass. To earning our own way, I added. As we clinked glasses, I thought about tomorrow. Mom and Dad would walk through InnovateTech's halls, seeing the empire their little web designer had built. They'd meet my team, understand my vision, finally grasp what I'd been trying to tell them all these years. And maybe, just maybe, we'd build something new from the ruins of our old expectations. A family that celebrated each other's differences instead of trying to force them into the same mold. Victoria's phone buzzed, her new work email being set up. She looked at it and laughed. Junior Project Manager Walker, she read. I think I like the sound of that better than SVP. It's real. It is, I agreed. Everything is from now on. Outside my windows, the city lights twinkled like stars, and for the first time in years, I felt completely, utterly at peace. Sometimes success doesn't look like what we expect. Sometimes it looks like a sister finding her own path, parents learning to see with new eyes, and a family learning that love doesn't have to follow a corporate ladder to reach the top. The next morning, watching my parents walk through InnovateTech's halls was surreal. Mom kept touching things as if making sure they were real, the awards on the walls, the sleek conference rooms, the busy developers at their stations. All of this, Dad whispered, you built all of this. In the main lobby, a wall displayed our company timeline. From that tiny first office to international expansion, every milestone carefully documented. Victoria, already in her new business casual attire, stood proudly pointing out achievements she'd just learned about herself. And here, she said, indicating the most recent entry, is where my brilliant sister changed everything. Mom wiped tears from her eyes. We were so wrong, Emily. All those years. It's not about being wrong or right anymore, I said, leading them to the final stop, my office. It's about what we build from here. As we stood looking out over the city, I remembered all the family dinners where I'd sat quietly, bearing their judgment. Now, standing in my success, I felt no desire for revenge or vindication. Sometimes the best response to doubt isn't proving people wrong, it's proving yourself right. Team meeting in 5, Sophie announced, poking her head in. Coming, Victoria and I replied simultaneously, then laughed. Mom and Dad watched us with new eyes, no longer the corporate star and the family disappointment, but two sisters finding their own ways to shine. Success tastes sweetest when shared with those who once thought it impossible. In the end, that's what made all those years of silence worth it. Not the moment of revelation, but the journey of redemption that followed.